Edinburgh, Harry's relationship with his family continues to be incredibly difficult and incredibly tense. William and Charles have now reached the stage where
Prince Harry's already diminishing royal relevance. King Charles III has formally bestowed a prestigious new royal title upon Prince William, effectively cementing William's status as the undisputed future of the monarchy. The announcement sent shockwaves through Montecito, where insiders claim Harry erupted into a furious tantrum upon learning that his father had
do not want to meet with Harry in private because they are so worried that what he might be told during those behind-the-scenes meetings will end up in a book, will end up in a documentary, will end up in the latest interview with Oprah, because Harry has proven time and time again
once again bypassed him in favor of his elder brother. What makes this development especially humiliating for Harry is not just the title itself, but the deeper message it carries. Harry is no longer seen as a trusted royal figure, but rather a disruptive outsider whose repeated attacks on the crown have finally cost him everything.
I mean, it's unfortunate that it's taken Prince Harry 40 years to learn the definition of the word consequences, but it was Princess Diana herself that referred to her youngest son as thick, and here it was on full display. Harry said himself in that interview that he has no regrets. He does not regret it at all.
What began as a slow, painful royal divide has now exploded into a full-blown crisis, one so humiliating, so undeniable, that even Prince Harry's most loyal defenders are struggling to spin it. In what many are calling the final nail in the coffin of Harry's royal future, King Charles has officially bestowed one of the most prestigious titles in the monarchy, the Duke of Edinburgh, not to Harry, but to Prince William. Yes, the same Prince William that Harry once mocked in his tell-all memoir.
Book was filled with incredibly private moments, including that so-called fight that he had with William. The Netflix documentary, again, involved a lot of very private detail that only Harry and Meghan were privy to.
Spare the same brother. He tried to paint as cold out of touch and loyal only to the institution. And yet here we are. William rewarded with legacy and honor, while Harry watches from across the ocean, stripped of recognition and consumed by fury. Let's get one thing straight. This wasn't just another royal reshuffling. This was a bold public statement, a rejection, a crowning insult, aims squarely at Prince Harry's choices, his behavior, and, perhaps, most painfully, his irrelevance. The title Duke of Edinburgh isn't just any title. It is royal heritage in its purest form, held for over 7 decades by the late Prince Philip. This title represents loyalty, tradition, and unwavering service to the crown. It was long assumed that Prince Edward would carry it briefly, and then one day it would pass to a worthy heir. That heir, many assumed, would be Harry. After all, he once served in the British military with honor. He was once the beloved spare whose popularity rivaled William's. But those days are gone. Buckingham Palace made the announcement quietly, but the implications were thunderous. Prince William now holds the title, reinforcing his elevated position, not just as heir to the throne, but as the monarchy's most trusted public face. King Charles didn't just gift his eldest son a name, he transferred a royal legacy. Here's the part that burns the most for Harry. Not only did he not receive the title, he was never even considered. Palace insiders were clear.
Joining me now is Sky News contributor Louise Roberts and the Daily Express royal reporter Pandora Forsyth. Pandora, so much to unpack here, plenty of parallels that are just a little too difficult to ignore.
Yeah, so much to unpack here. And you're right, Caroline. I mean, when you first started...
Harry's exit from royal duties, his American exile, and his repeated public attacks on the monarchy disqualified him completely. This wasn't a mistake or a forgotten formality. It was intentional. After all, how can the crown reward a man who called his own family racist, who accused his stepmother of scheming her way to queenship, and who dragged his father's parenting skills through the mud in front of the world?
David was at the top of his game, playing for England. I mean, really, when there is a story about them, they are the front page of every newspaper here. So to give that a bit of context. And then, of course, David is now a patron with the king in a couple of his...
The answer is simple. They can't. The royal family sees Harry not as a victim, but as a liability in typical royal fashion. The transfer of the Duke of Edinburgh, a title didn't come with a parade or a national holiday, but make no mistake, it was deeply symbolic. King Charles conducted a small private ceremony at Windsor Castle, surrounded by senior working royals. No Zoom calls, no long-distance olive branches, no Montecito invitations. Harry, once a central figure at such gatherings, was completely out of the loop, and that silence. That absence, it spoke louder than any official statement could. It showed the world that the royal machine has moved on without him.
Victoria is regularly seen and being invited to Buckingham Palace for various different ventures that the Queen is doing, one being about domestic violence. So there is plenty going on and ties in between the royals.
Back in California, the reaction was anything but quiet, according to sources close to the Sussex household. Harry did not take the news well, In fact, he reportedly erupted into a furious tantrum the moment the press release hits. Social media staff were left stunned as Harry ranted behind closed doors, demanding to know why his father had betrayed him. Yet again, he allegedly accused King Charles of favoring William, called the Monarchy a rigged institution, and stormed around the Montecito mansion in a rage. But what exactly did he expect? After 2 years of explosive interviews...
You said it's nice that Brooklyn perhaps has a shoulder to cry on. Exactly that. However, what I would say here is Harry and Meghan are treading into dangerous territory because they don't want to seem like they're getting in the way of royal data.
Ghost-written memoirs and passive-aggressive documentaries, Harry had made it clear where his loyalties lie, and now the monarchy has responded in kind, with silence, with symbolism, and with strategic exclusion. This isn't gossip. This isn't a tabloid exaggeration. This is a carefully measured royal response to a man who abandoned the institution, demanded independence, and then seemed outraged when that independence came with consequences. Prince Harry's fury over the Duke of Edinburgh. A title wasn't just a sudden emotional reaction. It was the result of a long pattern of being pushed aside publicly and privately, and this latest development only continues a disturbing trend of exclusion that has plagued Harry ever since he walked away from the firm. But what makes this moment so undeniably brutal is that it's not the first time he's been passed over. It's the second major royal honor stripped from him, and it won't be the last. Let's dig deeper.
Had very public rifts with the royal family. It was only a couple of weeks ago where he did that tell-all interview, which we did speak about. And then this has happened now off the back of it. Sources are saying that this is a complete coincidence, but is it that much of a coincidence?
If you've been following Harry's royal fallout, this moment may feel familiar. And that's because it is the first major slight came during Queen Camilla's coronation. Not only was Harry barely acknowledged at the ceremony, but his name was completely omitted from any formal announcements. While the rest of the family celebrated a new chapter for the crown, Harry was seated several rows behind the core royal members, treated more like a distant guest than the king's own son. He left the UK almost immediately after not staying even 24 hours. That was a clear sign, and now with the Duke of Edinburgh, a title going to William. The message from the monarchy is clearer than ever. Harry is no longer part of the inner circle. And here's the irony.
People they'd want their son to get advice from is former friends, Harry and Meghan, of course, and that was a very acrimonious breakup of that friendship, as you've referenced already. And I have to wonder, though, why didn't...
These decisions aren't coming from nowhere. They're consequences. They're the fallout from choices he made. When you launch grenades at your own family in the form of Netflix specials, and tell-all books. Don't expect a hero's welcome. Veteran royal analysts aren't mincing words. According to royal biographer Angela Levin, King Charles has finally drawn the line. Harry's reckless attacks have come at a cost, and that cost is trust. Richard Eden of the Daily Mail put it even more bluntly, saying the King's decision to give the title to William is the strongest message yet, that Harry no longer holds value to the crown.
All about themselves, and I do feel that in a way that Brooklyn and his wife have sort of gone to Montecito to sort of send a message to his parents, which is very unfortunate, and I just wish, in a way, like Harry, he would grow up and just mend that bridge with his family.
These aren't just opinions. These are assessments based on patterns of royal behavior. In the past, even disgraced royals were often quietly protected behind palace walls. But not Harry. His betrayal was too public, too aggressive, too damaging. The monarchy is no longer offering olive branches. They're building walls. Charles, the man Harry, once begged for emotional support and claims showed him no affection. As a child has made his choice, he's no longer acting as the emotional father. He is acting as king and as king. He has chosen duty, tradition, and stability. That means Prince William. Let's be honest. This isn't just a private family dispute anymore. It's a public referendum, and the British people have spoken. A recent U of poll found that over 70% of UK citizens support Prince William taking on more royal duties and being honored with legacy titles. Meanwhile, Harry's approval rating has plummeted to record lows, with many Britons calling him out of touch, whiny, and obsessed with victimhood, even among younger voters. Once Harry's strongest base of support, the tides have turned after the release of Spare, where he aired decades of dirty laundry from frozen genitals to royal drug use. Many former fans found themselves uncomfortable, disillusioned, embarrassed. And let's not forget, Harry chose to turn his royal life into a Hollywood brand. He traded the pomp and purpose of monarchy for podcast deals, Netflix contracts, and red carpet appearances. But with every appearance, his credibility in the UK slipped further and further away. The British public now sees him not as a brave truth-teller, but as a bitter outsider clinging to the royal brand while trashing it at the same time. So yes, when William received the Duke of Edinburgh, a title, the British people cheered, not because they hate Harry, but because they love stability. They love dignity. They love the monarchy. And they've had enough of Harry's circus as the dust settles on King Charles's title decision. The silence from Montecito speaks volumes. But behind that silence, something even more telling is taking place. Prince Harry wasn't just excluded, he was intentionally kept in the dark. That's right. This wasn't a situation where Harry was informed in advance or offered an explanation. The royal family is now operating with complete mistrust toward him, and here's why that matters. Harry or his team. Why? Because there's now a real fear inside the institution that Harry and Meghan could twist any private communication into a media opportunity, or worse, leak it before the palace makes it official. And honestly, can you blame them? We've seen personal text messages, private conversations, and confidential letters surface in interviews, documentaries, and memoirs. The trust has been shattered, and now royal protocol is adapting to a new reality. Harry is no longer treated as family, he's treated as press. Prince William isn't just wearing a new title, he's stepping into a new age of monarchy. As the Duke of Edinburgh, William is expected to take on more leadership roles in the Commonwealth military affairs and state events. His presence in royal diplomacy is expanding. He's no longer just the heir. He's becoming the monarchy in motion, and that's exactly why Harry was excluded. This isn't about emotion. It's about trust, responsibility, and the future. William has proven time and again that he respects the institution even when it challenges him personally. Harry, on the other hand, made the monarchy target, and himself a victim. So where does this leave Harry now, stripped of his military honors, frozen out of royal duties, and now sidelined from legacy titles? It's becoming clear that Harry's royal relevance is hanging by a thread. Some insiders believe this may be the final push that leads Harry to renounce his titles completely. But here's the twist. If he does, he loses whatever influence he still has. No more Prince Harry at events. No more royal introductions. Just Harry Markle, a man who left the palace with dreams of freedom, only to find himself more isolated than ever. And with King Charles and Prince William now unified in vision, the message is unmistakable. The crown is moving forward without him. Like and comment. Please subscribe my channel.